Silence was the loudest thing in Sector 9. It was a deep, heavy silence that only existed in the empty places between stars. The only light came from the distant, cold suns and the soft glow of the Aegis outpost. This station was a lonely metal box floating on the edge of known space. It was the first line of defense for Earth and its colonies, but for the last 6 months, nothing had happened. It was boring work. Inside the station, the air smelled like recycled oxygen and old coffee. The control room was a large circle with many screens and chairs. In the center sat the commander's chair. Lieutenant Alex sat there. He was a tall man with short hair and tired eyes. He leaned back, staring at the large glass window in front of him. Outside, the stars did not twinkle. They just stared back like unblinking eyes. Alex sighed and tapped his fingers on the armrest. "Is everyone awake?" he asked, his voice echoing slightly in the quiet room. "I am awake, sir," said Sam. Sam was the communication officer. He sat at a desk on the left side of the room. He was younger than Alex, with a face full of freckles. He looked nervous because he was new. "But the sensors are clear. There is nothing out there? Just dust and ice?" "Nothing is good," Alex said. "Nothing means we are safe." "Enjoy the quiet, Sam. It never lasts long in this job." In the back of the room, Ryan sat at the tactical station. Ryan was big and strong. He looked like a soldier who should be carrying a gun, not pushing buttons. He was cleaning a cup with a rag. "I would take a little action, sir," Ryan said with a grin. "Just to break the boredom. My muscles are getting stiff from sitting here." Alex smiled a little. "Be careful what you wish for, Ryan. The universe is listening." Suddenly, a loud sound broke the silence. It was a sharp beeping noise that made everyone jump. Sam's face turned pale as he looked at his screen. "Commander!" "I am picking up a signal. It is coming from the edge of the sector." Alex sat up straight. "Is it a glitch?" "Check the system." "I checked twice," Sam said, his voice shaking a little. "It is not a glitch. It is a ship. No, it is many ships. They just appeared out of nowhere. They are moving fast." "Put it on the main screen," Alex ordered. The large screen in the front of the room flickered and changed color. A digital map of the sector appeared. Red dots were moving toward the center. There were so many red dots that it looked like a swarm of angry bees. At the front of the swarm was one massive shape. "Identify them," Alex said, his voice now hard and serious. Sam typed quickly on his keyboard. "The computer recognizes the design, sir. It matches the Vexor Imperium." The room went very cold. The name Vexor was famous in the galaxy, but not in a good way. The Vexor were not human. They were a race of giant, lizard-like creatures. They had conquered hundreds of planets. They did not like peace. They liked power. They took what they wanted and destroyed anyone who said no. Earth had seen their ships before, far away, but they had never come this close to human space. "The Vexor," Ryan whispered. He put down his cup. "Here? Why are they here?" "They are crossing the borderline," Alex said, pointing at the red line on the map. This line was the limit. On one side was human space. On the other side was deep space. The Vexor ships were speeding over that line. "Sam, open a channel. I need to talk to them." "Channel open, sir," Sam said. A face appeared on the screen. It was not a human face. It was a Vexor. He had green skin that looked like tough leather, yellow eyes with vertical pupils, and a mouthful of sharp teeth. He wore a shiny metal uniform with gold on the shoulders. This was a commander. The Vexor opened his mouth. A strange, hissing sound came out. A metal box around his neck translated the sounds into a robotic voice. "I am Commander Korg of the Vexor Flotilla. You are the human station?" Alex stood up. He smoothed his blue uniform. "I am Lieutenant Alex of the Earth Alliance. You are entering restricted space. You must turn your ships around immediately and go back." Korg let out a long, slow laugh. It sounded like two stones grinding together. "Restricted space? The galaxy belongs to the strong. You are weak. We are taking this sector. It belongs to the Empress now. You have been warned," Alex said. He did not look away from the yellow eyes. Go back while you still can. We do not want to fight, but we will protect our home. Protect your home? Korg hissed. With what? We have scanned your station. Your weapons are small metal bullets. Your shields are weak. You are like children playing with toys. We have plasma weapons. We have ships that can crush your little station in 1 second. Alex stayed calm. Do not underestimate us. Turn back. We do not take orders from food, Korg said. We eat things like you on my home planet? You are soft. You have no claws. You have no armor. You are nothing. Korg leaned closer to the camera. You have 5 minutes. Lower your shields and surrender. If you do not, we will destroy you. The screen went black. The communication was cut. The room was silent again, but now it was a scared silence. Sam looked at Alex with wide eyes. Sir, they are huge. Their biggest ship is 10 times the size of this station. If they fire, we will not last long. Ryan looked at his tactical screen. Sir, their weapons are powering up. The energy readings are very high. They are not joking. They are going to attack. Alex walked to the center of the room. He looked at his crew. He saw fear in their eyes. They were young. They had never been in a real battle before. He knew he had to be strong for them. He could not show fear. Crew, Alex said. His voice was clear and strong. Look at me. Everyone looked at him. They think we are weak, Alex continued. They think we are just primitive humans with old technology. They think they can push us around because they are bigger and scarier. But they are wrong. He walked to the wall and pressed a button. A hidden panel opened. Inside was a red handle. We have been preparing for this day for a long time, Alex said. We did not build this station just to watch the stars. We built it to protect the border. The Vexor crossed the line. They ignored the warning. Now, they will see what happens when you make the human race angry. Sam swallowed hard. Sir, are we really going to fight them? There are so many. Yes, Sam, Alex said. We are going to fight. But we are not going to fight like they expect. They expect bullets? They expect us to run? We are going to give them a surprise. Alex grabbed the red handle. Ryan, get to the battle stations. Charge the main reactor to 100%. Sam, record everything. I want the Vexor leaders to see what happens here today. Yes, sir. Ryan and Sam shouted together. The fear was gone, replaced by determination. They started to work their controls very fast. The lights on the bridge dimmed as the station sent all its power to the weapons. On the main screen, the red dots of the Vexor fleet moved closer. They were dark, scary shapes against the stars. Commander Korg was on his bridge, laughing, thinking he was about to get an easy victory. He thought he would destroy the humans and go home for dinner. He did not know about the technology hidden inside the Aegis outpost. He did not know about the gravity well. He did not know that humans were very clever when they were cornered. They are locking weapons, Ryan warned. 10 seconds to impact. Alex watched the screen. He felt the floor of the station vibrate as the huge engines started to hum. The station was waking up. Hold steady, Alex commanded. 5 seconds, Ryan counted down. The green glow of the Vexor plasma weapons lit up the space outside. It was a beautiful but deadly light. 3, Ryan said. 2, 1. Brace for impact. Alex yelled. The first wave of plasma fire hit the station's shields. The whole ship shook violently. Sparks flew from the ceiling. Alarms began to wail. But the shields held. The station groaned under the pressure, but it did not break. Report. Alex shouted, holding onto his chair. Shields at 80%. Sam yelled over the noise of the alarms. They hit us hard, but we are still here. Alex looked at the red handle in his hand. He looked at the enemy ships on the screen. They were confident. They were close together, perfect targets. They fired the first shot, Alex said quietly. Now it is our turn. Alex pulled the red handle down. Deep inside the station, a machine the size of a house began to spin. It was not a gun. It was a gravity generator. It was a weapon that the Vexor had never seen before. It created a massive wave of invisible force. "Fire!" Alex ordered. The invisible wave shot out from the station, moving faster than light. It was silent and invisible, but it was heavier than a planet. It raced toward the Vexor fleet. On the Vexor bridge, Commander Korg was laughing. "Fire again!" he roared. "Destroy them!" Then the wave hit them. It was not an explosion. It was a crush. The space around the Vexor ships bent. The massive dreadnought at the front of the fleet, the biggest ship they had, suddenly twisted. The metal screeched so loudly it could be heard through the vacuum of space. The ship was crushed like a soda can. The beautiful, sleek hull turned into a ball of junk. On the screen, Alex watched as the Vexor ship crumpled. "Direct hit," Ryan said, his voice full of shock and awe. "Sir, their structural integrity is failing. They are breaking apart." The other Vexor ships nearby were pushed back violently. They spun out of control. Their engines flickered and died. The invisible gravity wave had disrupted everything. Alex stood tall. He looked at the destruction he had caused. "Message received," Alex said. "Now, let's see if they want to keep fighting." The silence that had filled the control room was gone, replaced by the blaring sound of red alarms and the shouts of the CR. The Aegis outpost shook violently again as another wave of green plasma fire slammed into the shields. Sparks rained down from the ceiling, lighting up the worried faces of the officers. "Report!" Alex yelled, gripping the edge of his console to keep from falling to the floor. "Shields are holding at 70%. Sam shouted, his fingers flying across his keyboard. "But they are hitting the same spot over and over. They are trying to break through." On the main screen, the view of space was chaotic. The Vexor fleet was no longer in a perfect formation. The invisible gravity wave had thrown them into confusion, but they were not running away. Commander Korg was angry. The damaged dreadnought, once a proud symbol of Vexor power, was now a twisted ball of metal floating lifelessly in the dark. The smoke from burning engines drifted like eerie ghosts. "They are regrouping," Ryan said from the tactical station. His eyes were wide as he watched the red dots on the radar move. "Sir, they are scared, but they are also angry. The two remaining dreadnoughts are moving to the sides. They are trying to flank us." Alex narrowed his eyes. "They think the gravity weapon was a lucky shot. They think we can only use it once. They want to come at us from angles where our main sensors are weak." The Vexor commander was not stupid. He realized that attacking head-on was dangerous after seeing his flagship crushed. Now he was splitting his forces. If the humans focused on the left, the right would attack. If they focused on the right, the left would strike. It was a classic trap. "Sir, I am picking up a transmission," Sam said. "It is Commander Korg again. He wants to talk." "Put him on," Alex said. He straightened his uniform. He needed to look calm, even though the situation was dangerous. The face of the giant lizard appeared on the screen again. Korg did not look happy this time. One of his eyes was swollen, likely from the impact of the gravity wave, and his gold armor was dented. He hissed loudly into the camera. "What was that trick?" Korg demanded. "What kind of weapon was that? You use magic like cowards?" "We use science," Alex replied coldly. "I told you to leave. You did not listen. That ship is gone because of your mistake. Turn the rest of your fleet around and no one else has to get hurt." "Never!" Korg roared. "You may have destroyed one ship, but we have hundreds more. You are alone out here. We will surround you and tear your station apart piece by piece. I will feed your crew to my soldiers." "You can try," Alex said. "But we are not as defenseless as you think." Korg's image disappeared. The screen went back to the tactical map. "He is not going to stop," Ryan said, looking at Alex. "He is too proud. If he goes back to the Empress without winning, she will kill him. He has to fight us." "Then we have to make him regret that decision," Alex said. He looked at the red button on his console labeled Countermeasures. Ryan, get ready to fire the defense satellites. Target the engines of the ships on the left flank. The satellites? Ryan asked. But those are just old gun platforms. They haven't been used in years. They will work fine if you aim them well, Alex ordered. Fire on my mark. On the outside of the station, small, rusty turrets emerged from hiding spots under the station's armor. They looked old and weak compared to the sleek Vexor ships. The Vexor pilots laughed when they saw them. They fired their plasma cannons at the turrets, easily destroying 2 of them. But they missed the others. Now. Alex shouted. The remaining turrets did not fire energy beams. Instead, they launched thick, heavy nets made of incredibly strong wire. These were capture nets, usually used to catch asteroids or stop cargo ships from drifting. But today, they had a different purpose. The nets shot out into space, moving surprisingly fast. They wrapped around the engines of the Vexor frigates on the left side. The wire dug deep into the metal hulls. The engines sputtered and died, tangling up in the metal mesh. The ships spun out of control, crashing into each other. Direct hits, Ryan cheered. 3 enemy ships disabled. They can't move. Inside the Vexor flagship, Commander Korg was roaring with rage. Shoot them down. Use your missiles. Destroy everything. The Vexor fleet launched a cloud of missiles. Hundreds of small rockets flew toward the station, leaving trails of white smoke behind them. Incoming missiles, Sam yelled. Too many to count. Hold on, Alex said. Activate the point defense system. This was a new piece of technology Earth had developed. Small laser towers on the station's hull spun around, tracking the incoming missiles. Asterisk zap. Zap? Zap? Thin beams of red light shot out, blowing up the missiles one by one. It looked like a fireworks display. Most of the missiles exploded harmlessly in space, but a few got through. The station shook harder than ever. An explosion rocked the lower decks. The lights flickered and went out for a second, leaving the room in emergency red lighting. Damage report, Alex coughed, waving smoke away from his face. Hull breach on Deck 4, Ryan said grimly. We have lost auxiliary power. The gravity generator is unstable. Alex knew that the gravity weapon was their strongest card, but it was also dangerous. If they used it too much, it could tear the station apart. They had to end this fight quickly. He looked at the radar. The Vexor ships were slowing down. They were confused. They had expected the humans to run or to die easily. They were not prepared for a fight. Sam, Alex said, can we send a signal to the Vexor home fleet? Sam looked confused. The home fleet? They are light years away, sir. Our regular radios can't reach that far. Not the radio, Alex said. The quantum pulse, the device we installed last month? It uses the gravity waves to send a message instantly. I want to send the message not to their ships here, but to their leaders back home. Sam's eyes lit up. I can do it. But what do we say? Alex thought for a moment. He looked at the wreckage of the Vexor dreadnought floating outside. He thought about the arrogance of the Vexor Empire. They thought they could take whatever they wanted. Send this, Alex dictated. This is Lieutenant Alex of Earth. You attacked our home. We destroyed your best ships without breaking a sweat. We are not the prey. We are the hunters. If you send one more ship, we will come to your planet next. Sam typed the message into the computer with shaking hands. Sending now. The message was blasted out on a quantum frequency that traveled faster than light. In an instant, it reached the Vexor capital, but for now, the battle was not over. The Vexor ships here were still firing. They are charging their main cannon again, Ryan warned. The big ship in the back is powering up. It looks like a super weapon. It is going to fire a beam that could cut the station in half. Alex looked at the tactical display. There was no way to dodge a beam that big. The shields would not hold. He had to think fast. He remembered the gravity generator. It was unstable, but maybe he could use it one last time in a different way. Ryan, can we redirect the gravity generator? Alex asked. Instead of pushing them away, can we pull them? Pull them? Ryan asked, surprised. You mean suck them in? Yes, Alex said. If we create a strong gravity point right in front of their main cannon, it will distort the beam. It will bend the laser back at them. That is crazy, Ryan said. The math is very hard. If we miss, we could crush ourselves. Do it, Alex commanded. Ryan typed in the commands as fast as he could. His hands were a blur. Okay, it is set. We have to fire the generator in reverse. Outside the station, the gravity field changed. Instead of pushing out, it pulled in. Debris and rocks started flying toward the station. The Vexor ships felt the pull, but their engines were strong enough to resist. However, the energy beam they were firing was made of light and plasma, which could be bent by gravity. The Vexor ship fired the superweapon. A massive blue beam shot out across space. It looked like a spear of death aimed right at the Aegis outpost. But just as the beam got close, it hit the gravity well Alex had created. The blue beam bent. It curved like a rainbow, spinning around and around. Then, with a flash of blinding light, the beam shot backward straight, back into the Vexor ship that had fired it. The beam punched through the enemy ship's shields like they were paper. It tore through the hull and blasted out the other side. The massive explosion lit up the entire sector. The Vexor ship broke into two halves, fire and gas erupting from its core. The bridge crew stared at the screen in shock. They had done it. They had turned the enemy's weapon against them. Direct hit, Sam whispered. The enemy ship is destroyed. On the radar, the remaining Vexor ships stopped firing. They were terrified. They saw their strongest weapon destroy their own ship. They saw the humans controlling gravity like it was a toy. The fear was too much. They are retreating, Ryan said, a smile spreading across his face. They are turning around. They are running away. Alex let out a long breath he didn't know he was holding. He leaned back in his chair. His hands were shaking slightly, but his face was calm. Let them go, Alex said. Don't chase them. We have made our point. The room erupted in cheers. Sam hugged Ryan. Even the serious security officers in the back were smiling. They had survived. They had won against impossible odds. Alex looked out the window at the stars. The debris of the Vexor fleet floated in the darkness, a grim reminder of the battle. But the Aegis outpost was still standing. The flag of Earth was still flying. Good work, everyone, Alex said. But don't celebrate too long. We still have repairs to make. And I have a feeling the Vexor Empire is going to remember this day. The bee. Battle was over, but the war for respect had just begun. Humanity had shown its teeth, and the galaxy would never look at them the same way again. The red alarm lights finally stopped flashing. Leaving the control room bathed in the soft blue glow of the emergency lights. The crew of the Aegis outpost let out a collective breath that seemed to last for a minute. The shaking had stopped. The loud roar of the Vexor engines was fading as the enemy ships turned and fled into the dark void. They were running away with their tails between their legs, but Alex knew better than to relax completely. Don't celebrate yet, Alex said, his voice cutting through the tired murmurs of the crew. They are leaving, but they are not defeated forever. They are going to run back to their commanders and tell them what happened. Sam looked up from his screen, rubbing his eyes. Sir, their ships are moving fast. They are jumping into hyperspace. They are really leaving. Let them go, Alex replied. He walked over to the large window and looked out at the debris field. The remains of the destroyed Vexor dreadnought were floating in the distance, twisted and burning. It was a sight that would give any Vexor soldier nightmares. But we can't let them think they can regroup and come back with a bigger army. We need to show them that this was not just a lucky defense. We need to show them that we can strike back. Ryan looked confused. But sir, we don't have any ships left to chase them. Our fighters are damaged. We are stuck here. Alex smiled a secret smile. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small silver key. We don't need to chase them, Ryan. We have the backup plan. He walked to the center of the room and inserted the key into a locked panel on the floor. A heavy hatch opened with a hiss, revealing a glowing blue button underneath. The crew had never seen this button before. It looked old and mysterious. "Sir, what is that?" Sam asked, leaning forward. "I thought we used all our weapons." "This is not a weapon," Alex explained. "This is a doorbell." Alex pressed the button. Deep inside the station, beneath the living quarters and the engine rooms, a massive machine began to wake up. It was not a gun or a missile launcher. It was a spacefold gate. This technology had been found on an ancient planet years ago. Human scientists had studied it for decades, trying to understand how to tear a hole in space and travel instantly. The Aegis outpost was built not just to watch the border, but to hide this gate. Outside the station, the space in front of the station began to shimmer. It looked like heat rising off a road on a hot day, but in space. The stars behind the shimmer started to bend. Then, with a sound like a giant tearing piece of paper, a hole ripped open in the universe. It was a swirling vortex of purple and black lightning. It looked terrifying and beautiful at the same time. It was a doorway to a hidden part of space where the Earth Alliance kept its strongest fleet. "What is that?" Ryan whispered, staring at the screen with his mouth open. "It looks like a black hole." "It is a bridge," Alex said calmly. "And our ride is here." From the center of the swirling purple vortex, a massive shape began to emerge. It was huge, much bigger than the Vexor dreadnoughts. It was blocky and ugly, made of dark gray metal that looked scarred from old battles. It didn't have the smooth, elegant lines of the alien ships. It looked like a flying fortress. This was the Hayes, Indiana. It was a human-heavy dreadnought. As the ship fully appeared, the lights on the hull flickered on. They weren't normal lights. They were glowing blue lines that ran along the sides of the ship like veins. These were runic carvings, ancient symbols that the humans had learned to use to power their engines. The Indiana hummed with a low frequency that rattled the windows of the outpost. A voice boomed over the loudspeaker in the control room. It was deep and confident. "This is Commander Mark of the HES Indiana. Sorry, we are late, Alex. We had some engine trouble in the fold. I see you handled the welcoming committee well." Alex grinned. "We managed, Mark, but we have guests who are trying to leave the party." On the screen, the Vexor ships that were fleeing saw the new ship appear. They stopped. Their sensors must have been going crazy. The Indiana was radiating so much energy that it looked like a small star on their radar screens. "Sir," Sam said, his voice shaking, "I am reading the energy output of that ship. It is off the charts. That one ship has more power than the entire Vexor fleet we just fought." Commander Mark's voice came over the speaker again. "Target the lead enemy cruiser. They are slowing down. They are scared. Let's give them a reason to run faster." The Indiana began to turn slowly in space. It didn't need to move fast because it didn't need to dodge. As the front of the ship pointed toward the fleeing Vexor ships, huge doors on the hull opened. These were the gun batteries. But the barrels of the guns were strange. They were spiraled like drills. "Fire at will," Mark ordered. There was no loud bang, and there was no bright flash of fire like the Vexor guns. Instead, the guns fired dark, shimmering shells. These were made of compressed dark matter. It was the heaviest substance in the universe. Packed into a bullet the size of a car, the dark shells shot through space, silent and invisible to the naked eye. They moved so fast that the human eye couldn't track them. They hit the Vexor ships instantly. When the dark matter shell hit a Vexor frigate, the ship didn't explode. It simply vanished. 1 second, it was there, a metal ship full of lizard soldiers. The next second, it was just gone. The dark matter crushed the ship out of existence, erasing it from reality completely. "Whoa," Ryan breathed out. "Did you see that?" "Target 2 destroyed," Mark's voice said calmly. "Target 3 destroyed. Target 4 is drifting, their engines are gone." The remaining Vexor ships panicked. They were terrified. They had fought wars for thousands of years. They had seen plasma and lasers and missiles. But they had never seen a weapon that could erase a ship from existence with a single shot. To them, it looked like magic. Inside the lead Vexor ship, the crew was screaming. It is a ghost ship, one officer yelled. We cannot lock onto it. Our sensors can't see it. Run, jump to hyperspace now. The captain screamed, but the Hayes Indiana wasn't done. It wanted to send a message. Mark knew that if they just destroyed the ships, the Vexor Empire would just send more. They needed to break the enemy's spirit. Hold fire, Mark said over the radio. Let one of the small ones go. Let them tell the story. Alex watched as the Indiana ceased fire. The few remaining Vexor ships frantically punched coordinates into their navigation computers. They opened their own small rifts in space and dived into them. Disappearing as fast as they could, the space around the outpost was quiet again. The purple vortex began to shrink and close, but the Hayes Indiana remained. It floated there like a guardian angel, dark and powerful. You did good, Alex, Mark said. The station is still standing. Most of the crew is alive. That is a victory. Alex looked around the room. His crew was tired, covered in sweat and dirt, but they were alive. They were looking at the screen with awe. They knew that humanity had a secret weapon, but seeing it was different. We took a beating, though, Alex said. We need repairs. And the Vexor know where we are now. They know, Mark agreed. But they also know that we are not the weak prey they thought we were. We used gravity. We used dark matter. We used technology they don't understand. That makes us dangerous. The Hayes Indiana moved closer to the station, docking gently against the side airlock. A few moments later, the heavy door to the bridge opened. Commander Mark walked in. He was a tall man with graying hair and a scar running down his cheek. He wore a heavy leather jacket over his uniform. He looked like a veteran who had seen too many wars. He nodded to Alex. Nice work with the gravity trick, Mark said, shaking Alex's hand. I watched the tactical replay. You bent their own laser back at them. That was clever. We didn't have many other options, Alex said. I'm just glad you arrived when you did. Mark walked over to the window and looked out at the stars. The Vexor will be back, Alex, an empire that Big does not like to lose. They will come back with everything they have. When they do, we can't just defend this station. We have to take the fight to them. Alex looked at the dark shape of the Indiana outside. Are you suggesting we invade their space? I am suggesting we let them know that we can, Mark said with a serious look in his eyes. Fear is a powerful weapon. If they are afraid to come here, then Earth is safe. We need to make them so scared that they never even look in our direction again. Sam spoke up from his chair. Sir, I intercepted a distress signal from the Vexor fleet before they jumped away. They were calling for help. They were screaming about demon ships and magic weapons, Mark smiled. Good, let them scream. Fear spreads faster than light. Alex stood beside Mark, looking out at the galaxy. The battle was over, but a bigger game was starting. The Vexor Empire had disregarded the border warning. They had thought humans were easy targets. Now they knew the truth. Humanity was sleeping giant and it had just woken up. Prepare the repair crews, Alex ordered his team. We have a lot of work to do. And, Mark added, prepare the long-range probes. We have a message to send to the Vexor Empress herself. The crew went back to work, but the mood was different now. They were not just survivors anymore. They were warriors. They had faced a lion and they had won. And now, the lion was afraid of them, the bridge of the Asterisk A. G-Ice Outpost Asterisk was busy with activity again, but this time it was not the panic of battle. It was the focused energy of repairs. Technicians in orange jumpsuits crawled under consoles, fixing wires and replacing blown fuses. The smell of burnt electrical tape filled the air. Alex stood by the window, watching the massive gray hull of the Hayes Indiana as it floated silently beside his station. The sight of the heavy dreadnought made him feel safe, but his mind was already moving to the next problem. Commander Mark was standing next to him, holding a cup of hot coffee. They are running, Alex, Mark said, taking a sip. But you know how empires work. They do not like to lose. They will tell themselves it was a mistake. They will say our station was a trap or that we got lucky. They will try to justify their failure. That is what worries me, Alex replied. If they come back, they won't send just a few ships. They will send thousands. We can't fight a war of numbers against them. We have to win a war of fear. Suddenly, Sam's voice cut through the noise of the repair work. He sounded excited. Commander Alex? Commander Mark? You need to hear this. Alex and Mark walked over to Sam's desk. What is it, Sam? Alex asked. I was monitoring the deep space frequencies, Sam explained. The Vexor ships that escaped sent a distress signal. It wasn't just a cry for help. It was a direct call to their capital. They are requesting the Void Legion. Mark frowned. The Void Legion? That sounds like trouble. Ryan looked up from his tactical screen. I have heard of them, sir. In the intelligence reports. The Void Legion is the elite guard of the Empress. They do not lose. If they come here, they won't make the mistakes Commander Korg made. They will scan us properly. They will be ready for our gravity tricks. Alex clenched his jaw. We can't let them come here. If the Void Legion arrives at our doorstep, even the Indiana might not be enough to stop them. We have to change their minds before they even leave their dock. How do we do that? Sam asked. We are all the way out here. They are on the other side of the galaxy. Alex looked at Mark. Mark nodded slowly. It is time for Project Shadow Sky, isn't it? I think so, Alex agreed. He turned to the crew. Ryan, I need you to calculate the jump coordinates for the slip space probes. Sam, get the communication array ready. We are going to send a package to the Vexor homeworld. Probes, sir? Ryan asked. You mean the small surveillance drones? Yes, Alex said. But we are not going to use cameras. We are going to use them to send a message. A very loud message. Down in the engineering bay of the outpost, the chief engineer, a tough woman named Emily, was waiting for them. The room was filled with large metal cylinders. They were about the size of a person, painted matte, black to absorb light. These were the slip space probes. They had engines that could travel through a hidden dimension, allowing them to cross the galaxy in minutes instead of years. Are these things ready, Emily? Alex asked as he walked in. Emily wiped grease from her hands and smiled. They are ready, Commander. I loaded the payload you asked for. It is a simple quantum transmitter. It will hack into their public network and broadcast a message on every screen, every speaker, and every datapad on their planet. Good, Alex said. Load them into the launch tubes. We are going to fire them as soon as the coordinates are set. Back on the bridge, the atmosphere was tense. This was a risky move. Firing probes into the heart of enemy territory could be seen as an act of war. But Alex knew that war was already here. The Vexor had crossed the line. Now humans were crossing back. Coordinates locked, Ryan announced. Targeting the Vexor capital city, the military headquarters, and the Empress's palace. Fire, Alex ordered. There was no loud explosion. The station merely shuddered slightly as 10 black probes shot out from the underside of the outpost. They vanished instantly. Disappearing into slip space, on the bridge, everyone stared at the main screen. They waited. It would take a few minutes for the probes to travel the vast distance and enter orbit around the Vexor homeworld. Entering real space now, Sam said quietly. Signal active. The screen changed. It showed a feed from the probes. The view was incredible. The Vexor homeworld was a huge planet with purple oceans and green continents. Massive cities made of dark stone and metal covered the land. Flying vehicles zoomed between tall spires. It looked busy and advanced. Suddenly the screen flickered. The image of the city broke up. Then a new image appeared on every screen on the planet. It was the face of Alex. He looked calm, strong, and confident. The audio track kicked in. Alex's voice, translated perfectly into the Vexor hissing language, boomed across the entire planet. People of the Vexor Empire, the message began. Asterisk, I am Lieutenant Alex of the Earth Alliance. Your commanders attacked our home today. They thought we were weak. They thought we were prey. They were wrong. Asterisk the video cut to a recording of the battle. It showed the Vexor dreadnought being crushed by the gravity wave. It showed the Hayes, Indiana erasing ships with dark matter. The images were terrifying. "We do not want to fight you," Alex's voice continued. Asterisk, "but we will not let you hurt us. We have the power to reach you anywhere. We have the power to turn your own weapons against you. Look up at the sky." Asterisk high above the Vexor capital, the 10 probes decloaked. They had been invisible, but now they revealed themselves. They hung in the sky like dark stars, humming with energy. To the Vexor people looking up, it looked like human ships were already orbiting their planet, ready to attack. "We are not asking for your surrender," Alex said. Asterisk, "We are giving you a warning. Do not cross the border again. Do not send your fleets. If you do, we will not wait for you to come to us. We will come here. And next time, we will not just send a message." Asterisk the transmission cut out. The probes recloaked and vanished, darting away before the Vexor defense forces could even lock their weapons on them. On the bridge of the Aegis outpost, the crew let out a cheer. Sam was clapping his hands. Even Ryan was smiling. "Did you see the look on their faces?" Sam laughed. The street cameras picked up thousands of people running. They are terrified. Back on the Vexor homeworld, panic was spreading. The military command center was in chaos. The alarms were blaring. The Vexor generals were shouting at each other. They had seen the human ships in the sky. They had seen the destruction of the fleet. They did not know how the humans had gotten there so fast. They did not know if the probes were actually bombs. "Shoot them down?" A Vexor general roared. "Where are they?" "They are gone, sir," a soldier cried. "They disappeared. They have invisible ships. They can teleport." Another general screamed. "We cannot fight an enemy we cannot see." Inside the Empress's palace, the mood was grim. The Empress herself sat on her throne, watching the replay of Alex's message. She was a massive lizard, covered in jewels and gold silk. She looked at the screen where the human Alex stood calmly. "Who are these humans?" she hissed. "They use gravity like a toy. They travel across the galaxy in minutes. They destroyed Commander Korg's fleet with one ship." "Your Majesty," her advisor said, trembling. "The Void Legion was preparing to launch. They wanted to crush the outpost. But if the humans can reach our capital, if they can strike us here, maybe we should wait." "Wait?" the Empress snapped. "We are the Vexor. We do not wait." "But," the advisor stammered, "what if the next message they send is not a warning? What if it is a bomb? We cannot protect the entire planet from invisible enemies." The Empress was silent. She watched the video of the Vexor ship being crushed again. It was painful to watch. Her empire was built on fear, but now she felt fear herself. She realized that this primitive species was actually a sleeping giant, and poking a sleeping giant was dangerous. "Cancel the Void Legion launch," she ordered finally. "Recall all ships near the border. We will study these humans. We will not attack them again until we understand how they do these things." The order was sent immediately. Back at the outpost, Sam picked up the signal. His eyes went wide. "Sir, you won't believe this. The Vexor fleet is stopping. The Void Legion is turning around. They are going home." Alex smiled. He looked at Mark. "It worked. They are scared." Mark nodded. "You gave them a choice between death and caution. They chose caution. Smart move." Alex looked out the window at the stars. He knew they had won this round. The border was safe. The Vexor would not be back for a long time. He felt a sense of pride. Humanity had been underestimated for too long. But today, they had shown the universe that they were not to be trifled with. "Good work, everyone," Alex said to his crew. "We bought ourselves some peace. Let's make sure we are ready if they ever change their minds." The crew went back to their stations with new energy. They were no longer just soldiers sitting on a lonely outpost. They were the Guardians who had stared down an empire and blinked last. The silence that returned to the Aegis outpost was different from the silence of before. It was not the boring, empty silence of deep space. It was a heavy, thoughtful silence. The red emergency lights had been turned off, replaced by the soft white glow of standard lighting. The acrid smell of smoke and burnt wires was slowly being replaced by the clean scent of recycled air from the ventilation systems. The battle was over, and the station was still standing. Alex stood in the center of the bridge, looking at the main tactical screen. The red dots that represented the Vexor fleet were calm,